welcome back to SlydeBytes. If you're not familiar with this channel, this is a budget guitar and gear review channel. All the gear you see on the channel is my own. No one has provided me gear or equipment unless it's gifts from family and friends, that sort of thing. So today's video is gonna be kind of not really an experiment as much as maybe a sort of a lesson, pseudo lesson, but it's gonna be something that I'm kind of wanting to talk about. So I like single coil pickups, and actually I really love Strats. If you watch the channel very long, you know I actually really love Strats, and I do love single coil pickups, and I love them with gain. I love the way they sound with gain. And I watched. We'll start from the beginning of this story. Growing up, and I've mentioned this on the channel before, I was always whenever I played with friends and bands and stuff, they would always get irritated when I went to play single coils for heavier sounding music, and they'd be like, "You can't do that. That sounds like crap. You gotta have a Les Paul or something else like that." It always drove me crazy because it's like they didn't even want to give it a chance. Most people, my age have one guitar. I had actually, by the time I was 17, had a few. But a lot of people only have one guitar, so they just assume that one guitar that they have was like the best thing. Growing up, getting older and everything, I actually met a lot of other people who had just, who had the same similar experiences as me. They loved the way their Strats sounded, and the moment they tried to play anything else, outside blues or rock, someone's telling them, wagging fingers, saying, "No, you can't." It was just hilarious. Anyway, so I've watched videos recently on people discussing dialing high gain tones on single coil pickups, or using single coil pickups on Strats and S-types and several other types of guitar. And it either comes down to being a sales pitch trying to get you to buy a product, and they're pushing their products that they're sponsored by, or it becomes you need thousands of dollars of this gear or whatever. There's a few good channels out there that do a good job at this, but I figured, what, I'm going to do this from a budget perspective using very common equipment and show, demo how to dial in high gain on single coils using budget equipment. So today we have, this is my customized Squier Strat. This is a bullet Strat. Can't really hardly see it there, but anyway, Squier Strat. But the pickups are all stock, and all the wiring is all stock. Nothing changed. It's just painted the hardware, stained the neck, ebony, and did some put some gloss on there, some True Oil. And change the pickguard out, that kind of stuff. Basically cosmetic changes, but no hardware changes or electronic changes. So we're going to use this, and we're going to use a staple among the guitar industry now, the Boss Katana 50. This is the Mark II, and I know there's newer versions of this out, but this is like one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling, solid-state amps in like a long time. So I know a lot of people out there have them, and I know when people are asking about dialing in their high gain tones on single coils, a lot of people are probably they got one of these for Christmas or something like that, or maybe one of these, or now maybe they have both. Maybe this is their first big amp, but they still have the original guitar or whatever. It is what it is. But I feel like this is probably a pretty common combination out there, and just judging by what I see on TikTok and Instagram, it seems to be fairly common. So we're going to use this, and this whole thing probably about $500 total, if that, depending on where you buy your Strat and everything else, and what deals are going on. So probably maximum $500, maybe just a tad over. And we're going to go ahead and show how I would go about dialing a high gain tone on a budget with these two pieces of kit. And honestly, what's cool about this is just the basics. In a lot of ways, this is your standard solid-state amplifier. Yeah, it has different stuff built into it, but even if you have a 2-channel solid-state amp, you probably follow some of these guidelines to dial in a heavy tone without needing anything else. So we're gonna go ahead and let's just get into it. Okay, so I've got you set up on top of the amp. So what we're gonna do is go to what I would consider to be the highest gain setting on this amplifier, which is the brown setting. For if you're using like a 2-channel amp, go to your highest gain setting. I'm gonna go ahead, so this is what this sounds like right now. Everything's basically at noon except for the amp's built-in volume. The master volume is down. We are on 50 watts though. So let's go ahead and just let you hear what that sounded like. You heard it in the intro, but here's this again. there's that. I'm going to drop that volume down a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the variation button on this. So this is going to be the highest gain I feel like you can really get on here. So if we go ahead and max your gain out, not too bad. It is going to get a little noisy because I'm sitting right in front of it. If I was sitting a little further away, that'd be a little bit better as far as background noise. But yeah, it's something you're going to run into single coils is the noise. So I actually like to leave the gain here at noon. Basically just 12 o'clock straight up. And with single coils, what you're going to find is you got a lot of treble going on. So I'm actually going to bump treble up though just a little bit. I'm going to boost bass a decent amount, and I'm going to leave mids about halfway. So now I'm going to go to the boost knob, and we're going to roll up a little bit of boost. You can choose whichever boost you want, and if you're doing this, without a boost, you can definitely do that, and we'll show that what that sounds like without the boost here in a minute. But if you have like an overdrive pedal in front of your solid state 2-channel amp or something like that, this is basically what you're going to be doing. So I'm not going to give too much gain, about halfway. And I'm going to leave all this other stuff off for now. So let's hear what that sounds like right now. Back up just a little. Alright, so let's go ahead and boost the middle just a little bit. I'm actually going to roll the treble back just a hair. Getting thicker. So basically what I was trying to show is just how spiky these get. They do get really spiky. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to roll these two back. We're going to boost that bass up a bit, and we're going to play like that. Now you're starting to hear a little bit of that mid-range chugging tone. So now that we got that, I'm going to go ahead and raise the gain a little bit. Now you don't actually tend to need as much gain as what you think for metal or for a heavy tone. Little less than what most people would assume anyway. Some guitarists will go ahead and dime out their gain. I tend to do that when I'm not running an overdrive or something. But you don't always need as much gain as what you think. Just bear that in mind. Oh yeah. I really like that tone. Personally, I think that sounds really good. Now, if you wanted to, you could also change your boost or whatever. But let's go ahead and shut the boost off and see what tone you have right now without that boost. This would be like if you just have a high gain channel on your solid state. Now, not every solid state 2-channel amp or anything like that's going to have enough gain, and so you will want to throw like an overdrive. But overdrives are pretty available, cheap these days. You can get them for, $20-$30, depending what brand you're looking at. So, yeah. Since we're not running a boost, you are going to probably end up wanting to use a little more gain, and I'm actually going to probably drop my bass just a hair and bump the mid and treble up just a little bit. Now, if you want to get a little bit more mid-range in there for a little bit more of that pushed mid sound, you can always, bump that up a little bit. Personally, I could just leave it just like the other one, but just a little bit more mid and a little bit more treble than before. So, to me, that sounds really good. I hope that's coming through pretty well for you too. And you can always move these just a little bit, but basically all I'm saying is you need to get your treble and your middle under control. Single coils have a lot of high end, and your mid range is actually pretty important for getting that nice heavy chug. You don't want to cut it all the way out. If you cut that all the way out, let's just... You're getting so much bass in there, and the sound just loses its fullness. Obviously, you lose some of your mid-range, but you lose what your guitar actually is. It is a mid-range instrument, so when you cut all your mids out, you scoop too much of them out, you lose the soul of what you're trying to do. So I like to keep a decent amount of mids in there, but you do have to keep that treble reined in. And you can always boost your middle up a little bit for flavor, and that's really where I would kind of define your own signature tone, is by moving your middle range a bit and finding what really feels right to you. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and just dump all the gain in and see what that sounds like right now. What you can also do is roll off your tone knob a little bit. So we're on the bridge pickup. This guitar is in drop C. And we're going to go ahead and roll the tone knob to about 8 and see what that sounds like. whatever you need to do to just contain that high end. But obviously, you don't even need to use the boost function that I'm mentioning on here. You can do, as long as you have a decent enough high gain channel, you can pretty much get this without, you know, needing too much extra stuff. And worst comes to worst, you know, if you really feel like you're too noisy, like what I do is in between, if it's making noise, I just roll the volume off. That pretty much solved that issue. And if you really, you know, feel like you need to push it more, you can always get like an overdrive and throw a noise gate there too. Again, for both pedals, 40, 50 bucks, something like that, depending where you shop and what you get. But you know, I use like the K-Mize noise gates myself, and it's like 20 bucks. And an overdrive pedal these days, if you any of the Amazon specials, or even like Behringer, 20, 30 bucks, something like that. So you're not getting for a whole lot of money. Especially if you find something, you know, that does take batteries. You don't need to buy a power supply. You can just pop in a 9-volt battery. I'm sure there's something on Amazon, or you know, Behringer probably has something noise gate wise. Somebody has something, you know, affordable noise gate that you could throw on there if you really felt like you needed it. But basically, yeah, make sure your single coils have enough body, enough fullness, by boosting your bass end a little bit, keeping a decent amount of mids in there, and decreasing your treble overall, because that's going to keep a nice tighter, you know, response. Your single coils are tight anyway, but you need a little bit more thickness, especially in a mix, or even just playing alone. You know, I feel like if you're spiking your high end too much, you're just getting, you know, you're just getting too much treble everywhere. It's pokey, it's bright, it's almost too much for, you know, a lot of high gain music. These settings will work. You know, I play this guitar. I use this amp with other guitars too. I have a PRS SE Soap R2 and a Telecaster and a Strat and Drop D with single coils, and all those sound just fine with this running high gain. So it really just comes down to what I was talking about. So anyway, and this is all about boost. If we really want, just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and just go balls to the wall here and just throw in as much boost on top of everything else. Just do it. All right. Drop that treble back down a little bit. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You can see here like this for a second, so you can see it is really me playing with this guitar. So. Single coils can absolutely play metal, and they sound really darn good doing it. So I do this all the time. If you wanted to see the other pickup styles demonstrated in the same way, I'm going to leave these tone settings just like this. Yeah, and I'll make sure to take pictures of it and everything for myself in case I move anything and lose it. But basically, I'm going to keep this like this, and if anyone wants to see, you know, the P90s, the Telecaster, or, you know, the Drop D Strat on this, you can comment in the, you know, below and tell me if you want to see that too, because these settings will work with just about all those. P90s, you might drop your bass down just a little bit because they're a little bit fatter, a little bit thicker. You may want to control your mid-range a little bit differently too with them, but again, it's going to come down to controlling that high end, giving just enough mids for flavor that you feel right with, and giving yourself a nice bass boost to give some more fullness. And if you have a tone knob, this is why tone knobs can be really nice to have. You can roll off a little bit of that high end in the guitar itself too, and give yourself again some more full sound. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching SlydeBytes. I hope this was helpful for someone out there. And if you like what I'm doing, if you feel like I've earned it, you might consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Those go a long way to helping this little guitar channel grow. I'm trying to build a community here, and it's really awesome. If you like the music that I play, if you like the way I play in here, check me out on Instagram, TikTok. TikTok is really growing for me. Instagram is it's really been growing. People seem to like the music when they join the community. Talk to me about gear on there. That's really awesome. I always enjoy that. Yeah, it's really fun. So check me out on Instagram and TikTok. Keep shredding, partners. I will see y'all soon with more guitar content. And there's always more in the works. Bye.